candidate where they can introduce themselves, followed by a series of questions from our panelists. Each candidate will receive the same question and have a specified amount of time to answer. We will alternate who gets to start a question first. And then following this, the open question part, each candidate will have an opportunity for a closing statement where they can either rebut, answer, or address any topic that we've not covered before. The order of each candidate's responses has been selected, and each will have an opportunity to answer each question first. And so, without further ado, let me introduce our candidates for tonight. From District 1, we have William Bill Hale. In District 3, Mr. Clayton Worley, Mr. Ronald King, Mr. Grant Hasty, and Mr. Bobby Strunk. Just as a note here, Jason Mann alerted us here about an hour or so ago that he had a pressing engagement and could not be here tonight, so he extends his apologies for not being here. So do any of the candidates have any questions before we begin? No. Darlene, you want to take the first one? Well, let's give them each each take a minute for an opening statement. Start with Mr. Hale.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is William Hale. My friends call me Bill. I'm running for office of Magistrate in District 1. I would ask for your support and your vote to elect me to that office. And if I do, folks, I promise you that I'll work hard for you. I really will. I'm trying to understand the way our county does business. Lived in the county for about all my life, all except for 4 years. We moved here when I was a young child, so. But anyway, look forward to the debate tonight. I appreciate you coming out, and I appreciate everybody showing up, and I look forward to this, and look forward to meeting some more of you on the campaign trail. So, thank you.
I'm Clayton Worley. I'm running for Magistrate in District 3. I'm 35 years old. I'm the son of Junior and Diane Worley. I'm married to Amy Worley. I've got one little girl. I am a truck driver, equipment operator, have been for 17 years. I will work hard for you. I will listen to you. Won't make any promises. Thank you.
I'm Ronald King, running for Magistrate in District 3. I'm a 48-year resident of McCreary County. I've lived here all my life. I've run a successful business for the last 25 years, and I'm seeking your vote for the magistrate. Thank you.
Grant Hasty. I'm a local pastor here in the area, Crossroads Community Baptist Church. We do a lot of outreach and ministry in the community and the county around us. I'm father of 5. We've been in the county for over 10 years now, and it's my ideas of how McCreary County can be an incredible place to live, and ask for your vote.
Hello, I'm Bobby Strunk, running for Magistrate District 3. I'm married to Missy Markham Strunk, the daughter of Red Emma Markham. I just ask for your vote. I know, like all you, I love this county, and I like to see us do better here, get some more stuff in here, and I work hard, won't make no promises, but I do what I can to help everybody. Thank you.
Text. It has been stated by our county judge executive that the reason for the budget crisis that raised our occupational tax was the lack of having our own jail. It has become much more costly than had been anticipated to house our prisoners in other people's jails far away and abroad. What could you advise as magistrates that may assist in this situation?
Start, Mr. Hale, 2 minutes.
This is William Hale, Magistrate District 1 candidate. First of all, we made a decision to close our jail several years back. And it's an issue with the county. The biggest issue is we have a long way to transport people. And we have to eliminate that problem. There's no ifs and ands and maybes about that. We have to get closer to home. It's very costly to the county, liability to the county. I would love to see us get a jail, folks, but it's going to be a long, drawn-out process if it's even possible, to be honest with you. But we've got to fix the problem, and we've got to fix that transporting that distance. And it just drives me crazy that our fiscal court's not talking about that every single month. that's the problem, we have to fix it, okay? Not just for the county, but for the people that's incarcerated or in jail, their family members can visit. But that's the biggest thing that we're facing, and then we can start tackling something else. But we got to fix the problems in front of us right now before we can proceed on. Thank you.
I'm Clay Worley, I'm running for Magistrate District 3. I think that the jail crisis is bad. I think that we could pull some money away from maybe tourism a little bit and try to help the county grow, and that way we can get us a jail started back. Because like Bill said, it's a long way for people to go. It's a long way for people to go visit, go pick them up. It's a lot of money in the outsourcement part. You know, we outsource so much stuff that we need to cut back on that the most we can. You know, we can get volunteers to help in a lot of this stuff instead of paid people. There's programs in the community where people have to do hours to get their welfare, their K-TAP or whatever, and we could use them more and really do some budget cut. Thank you.
I'm Ronald King, running for Magistrate District 3. I think the county does need a jail, but can the county support a jail? It's my understanding we're having a feasibility study right now to see if we can actually afford the jail, or if it would be better for the county in order to transport the prisoners. Whichever way the county is going to come out cheapest is what we need to do. Because the state mandates on the size of the jail is what's holding everything back. Do we have enough money in the county to build the jail that we need?
Grand Hasty Magistrate 3. The problem with the jail started way back when the jail should have never gotten the condition it was in. And so we need to look at the root of why it got the way it was and go from the ground up. Also, with the feasibility study, I think it's very important and crucial to make sure everything is done according to the books, to make sure everything's done right. It is going to be a long, drawn-out process. Also, I think you can look at some inventive ways of maybe doing some video. Instead of bringing everybody back from court, is there a way that we can do video conferencing to have, instead of transporting the prisoners back and forth all the time? Liability is another huge issue, making sure that our transport officers are not going to be a liability to the county if something happens. We've already had that happen once, and the county is, if we're not careful, we're going to have another lawsuit in our hands if we're not doing things according to the books.
Bobby Strunk, I'm running for Magistrate District 3. The jail, to build up a jail, I've heard it's $16 million, and I heard the county is only able to borrow $9 million, so it's going to be hard to get a jail. I agree with the live stream to court. If you could get a camera set up at the Leslie County Jail, quit hauling all these people back and forth. I've heard Jesse say 5 or 6 times for each one person back from court. If it could somehow get the court, the lawyers and the prosecutors to give you a 24-hour notice if they couldn't try that case. We need to maybe bid the jail contract out. See if another county closer would take the bids. We're at $1.3 million. I'm sure some jails would want closer, maybe Laurel County or somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And I joked with Darlene, told her she threw you right in the fire right away to start. So, this next question will start with Mr. Worley, and this will be a 1-minute answer. It's a little more simple, but can you describe briefly on what you envision the role of a McCreary County Magistrate should be?
Well, the McCreary County Magistrate should be a guy that will listen to his community, because you're elected by the people, and you need to listen to that. You need to go, get in with all the magistrates and the judge and go out and seek industry. Don't get on the phone and call somebody. Drive to the company. We need to, if somebody calls you and says that their ditch is clogged up and their culvert is, go out there and do it. Don't put it off. Don't send a guy out there, just fix it. And you need to really be doing forward, on the outsourcement. You need to be a big part of the physical court, but you need to be a big part of the community too. Thank you.
Ronald King, Magistrate District 3. I believe the magistrate's job is to represent his district. He needs to talk to the people and understand what they need, and don't just jump and say this is it. You need to go by what they need and what's best for our county. Not what's best for one, but best for all.
Grant Hasty, Magistrate, District 3. Part of leadership is being able to communicate and talk with other people and be able to sit down and understand as a leader to be able to put some ideas out there, but also surround yourself with other people to help you support those ideas. Also, as an elected official, to know and to talk to your community and know what their wishes are and be able to represent them in your voting and in the fiscal court setting, and also to communicate. I think that's a big problem we have right now, in putting out their information for the community to know exactly what's going on as much as possible with the court meetings, and communication is key.
Bobby Strunk, Magistrate District 3. Communication. Don't hibernate. Go out and see people. Don't just disappear after you get elected. Work with other officials. Try to get jobs in here. Try to get stuff for kids to do here. Get help. Ask the governor for help. Just get out and see people. If they call you about your road, call them back. If they need to see you, go see them. But take care of the people that put you here.
William Hell, Magistrate candidate for District 1. I think the magistrate's job is more complex than people think it is. Everybody wants to talk about roads, and there's more to this job. There's managing your county budget, taxpayers' dollars. We have to manage that, we have to budget that, and we have to stick to a budget, and we have to make it happen. We have to be transparent, open-minded, to talk to all. We have to listen, because the greatest ideas come from outside and the people that work for you. So if we listen, we can all learn something. And I think there's where we need to be. Thank you.
Okay, next we'll start with Mr. King. What will be a main goal or priority of your office if you are elected?
The main goal should be to bring something into McCreary County. Our tax base is what it is. I mean, we're over 70% government owned, and the only way our taxes are going to increase is by getting jobs in here. I mean, we have to have more industry, more jobs for the people to work at. If the people can make the money, we can get our taxes. But otherwise, there's not enough tax base here to support a county. We need more industry, we need more jobs. We just need something for the people to do. Thank you.
Jobs is huge. I mean, there's a new incentive I just heard about that the state is actually through the federal government. We're qualified for some new jobs and industry coming in, going after companies and finding it. We have a golden opportunity right now with state and government, national leadership, to get some incentives in here to get people back to work. Why not ask the federal government for some of the land back? Our current president has given land back that has been taken by national parks. Why not make it awareness of how much money we're losing from national park, and then step out there and see what would happen? You never know until you ask.
We are in a unique position with the 77% of land owned by the federal government. We got to get some jobs in here. I'm tired of seeing everybody driving to Somerset or some Corbin to work. We got to get different stuff in here, different types I do. Government contract jobs. We've got the infrastructure now to do a call center, medical billing, urgent care, anything like that. Get jobs, get people stimulated and want to work. We got to focus on people here. Our population is not growing. We're staying the same every year, and people here is living in poverty. We're the second poorest county in the state. Thank you.
First of all, we have to set some goals and then put a plan together to get there. One of the biggest things that I think is we have to eliminate this transportation, and that's going to be on the agenda if I get elected every single month until the next administration does something about it. The other thing is to work with the judge, to try to bring jobs here. But we have to have plans to get there. And if we don't put a plan together and we don't stick to it, we're never going to accomplish it. And of course, we got to talk about our budget. We got to live within our means. We can't spend more money than we make. And if the jail's the problem, then we have to find a way to balance our budget. Thank you.
I agree with all these other guys. We've got to get industry in here. Where the industry comes, revenue will come. We've got we've got high school people all the time graduating. We've got people coming out of vocational schools. We need that here. I agree with Bill here on the budget. We can't live outside our means. We've got to have the industry. We've got to work with judges. And, you've not just got to work with the judge, you've got to work with the other magistrates. You've got to have a complete...
30 seconds.
A complete, whole, as a whole to work. You can't have one out or one going one direction, one going the other direction. In mine, I'm going to listen to the people and try to help them. Thank you.
Last year, a business license fee was passed. And there's arguments on both sides of this business license issues. But we did lose some businesses. And we lost the flea markets at what's it called, the M3P station. Probably saying that wrong, station. And to me, that affected tourism. I like to travel, and that's where I want to go. I want to go to those flea markets. And now what you have left behind there is not good. How do you feel about the business license issue either way? And would you do something different? Or just basically, what is your take on the business license?
I think the business license is important just to kind of keep some regulations and to make sure that we're being fair with our business practices. I know that, understand that is an eyesore right now, and there's several eyesores around the county that we need to address, but I am in agreement with having the business taxes. It's not very much for someone to fork up on an annual basis, and it does help bring back revenue into the county.
Well, that is a tough decision there, because we always like to go to flea markets and yard sales and stuff, 127 and all that. And when my wife lost her job at the hospital, we got sick, we yard sale to make our house payment. We done that for 2 months to make a house payment. These people are struggling here in the county, and they need that money. I mean, these people coming in, like the roofers or whatever that was in here that started all this, maybe get them to get a business license if they're going to do business here like that. But the yard sales and all that, the flea markets, I don't agree with that.
Well, a business license does keep people accountable for a business and allows us to track who has a business and who doesn't. If we can get all businesses to pay and be equal and fair. I don't know that we have the ability to track and make sure everybody's paying. So we really need to go back to the drawing board to make sure. And I believe that weekend yard sales or flea marketing should be exempt from this if it's not an everyday business, I think, myself personally. So that's where I stand.
I believe that they should not be accountable for it. I know if you go to a flea market, you got to pay a booth fee. But like Bobby said, some people do this to make a living. And in regulations, if you've got 4 or 5 different spots you're selling this stuff, or you're going and getting pallets and you're making good money, yeah, by all means you should do the license. But just like Bill said, we can't regulate it all, so we need to go back to the drawing board if we're going to do it and do it right, not just jump in on it. Thank you.
The business license is necessary in some cases. If somebody has a yard sale once a month, 2 or 3 times a year, no, I don't think they should have to have a license. But if they're there every weekend, setting up the same place every time, the business license is a good thing. I mean, it just brings revenue back to the county.
We'll start with Mr. Strunk for this one. And you've all kind of touched on it briefly, and Mr. Hasty addressed it directly. There was a recent announcement that part of McCreary County has been named an opportunity zone. With that in mind, how would you encourage economic development in McCreary County?
Well, I seen where it was designated opportunity zone. That's good for 10 years. It's tax incentives for businesses to come here for rural areas, people, or areas that needs economic growth. So we need to attract, I think every magistrate, every judge and judge executive ever call, or at least 5 companies, 5 businesses every week, and try and get somebody to come here. Email them, call them, go see them in person. But I still ain't for sure where the
30
thing, I heard it was, the zones was Stearns, Whitley, and Buell Heights. I don't understand why it wasn't Towad and our industrial park in Pine up there. It looks like that would have been one part of it too. But we've got to attract people to come here while we got this, and hopefully we can get some people some jobs out of this. There's only 84 counties that got this, 144 zones. Thank you.
Well, I'd love the opportunity to sit down at the round table with the next administration and encourage companies or businesses to come to our county, and I think we can do that. I think we also have some business leaders in our county now that owns business here that can help our county with economic growth. I think we need to sit down with those people too, and we need to listen to those people. And there's more than just one or two. There's several out here. So we need to sit down and learn something from them and encourage them to help us with economic growth, maybe expanding their business or helping us attract other businesses. We all can learn from each other. Thank you.
I believe that we need to, what we've got here, we've got loggers, we've got builders, we've got things of that nature, and that's what we need to focus on trying to get in here, not just to help one person, but to help the whole county. We've got a lot of loggers, we've got a lot of factory workers, we've got a lot of everything. But I think that that's what we need to do. We need to, like Bobby said, we need to call, and it just can't be one person. It can't be the judge. It's got to be as a whole, like I said before. And I think that would help us more than anything. Sit down with the other business owners in the county and see what's, help expand theirs, or if they want to do the tourism thing, they could help by helping the motels. Our best motel is a 2-star. So I mean, why can't we do that? Why can't we attract motels to come in here for tourists to stay and stuff for them to have? Thank you.
I think we need to get industries in here, even if we do have to give them a tax break. As far as the countywide, all the people working there is going to be paying an occupational tax. If the company doesn't have to pay the tax, we're still going to be ahead just of what occupational tax. 100 people making $40,000 a year, that would be great. I mean, how much occupational tax do we get off of that? If we did give the company a tax break in order to get them here, we would still be ahead.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
I think this is a golden opportunity and a great window for us to attract industry of various different types of industry, whether it's manual labor or other types of industry. Great idea to bring other business leaders that are successful in our county to the round table, and even going outside the area and outside the county to see how other counties are attracting in industries as well. We've got a neighbor just south of us in Scott County that get new businesses. Why can't we do the same thing with some of this tax incentive that we're getting from the federal government, state governments, and work on that in all different angles and come together with, like I said, with a team approach, and then also then at that point, then the fiscal court and the judge make the final decisions.
In a time when federal and state revenue streams of funding are being diminished, counties have to look at ways to eliminate unnecessary spending to save costs whenever it's possible. What do you think you would cut from the current budget to save money for the county?
Well, I said it all evening. The first thing we have to fix is our jail issue. We can't transport 4 hours, okay? We got to fix that problem. That's going to be an instant savings to our county. It's going to help us on wear and tear on our vehicles, mileage, gas money, transportation costs. That's a big thing that we can cut from our budget. We have to fix this problem, folks, and we have to fix it real fast. I would really like to see our current administration fix it, but if it doesn't get fixed this year, we need to fix it next year.
30 seconds.
That's the one big thing that I can see that we need to fix right away. So, and then probably cut a little unnecessary spending. Thank you.
I think that the transport of the inmates are a lot of the problem, but all the outsourcement needs to be cut out, because we can, like I said before, we can get volunteers in here to do a lot of these jobs. They've got to do hours anyways. That would cut, but a lot of our problem is our outsourcement. We're trying to outsource everything, and that's not the answer. Thank you.
I agree that the jail is the biggest problem with our current administration. Well, not our administration, our budget. We spend way too much money on it, but we need something in here to deter the drugs. 90% of the offenses are drug related, and that's where all of our money is going, is to transport the drugs, the inmates from the drugs and everything that has to deal with it. But our jail is where we need to start to work on that.
I agree. Start with the top and work your way down on the budget. Obviously, transportation is a big issue. Figure out some way to cut that, whether it's using different vehicles or whatever to transport more people. Just take a look at that. And then again, looking at those other areas, I do agree with the volunteerism as well. That's an awesome opportunity. Everything we do with our ministry is done with volunteers, and it works awesome.
The budget's $8 million. Last year, we was in the hole in, I think, April, May. And a lot of it was the jail. So we've got to address that. We've got to find some ways to cut the costs on the jail. That's our biggest drain on us, is the jail right now, and lack thereof a jail. We've got to find somewhere closer. Some of the prisoners, if they ain't done a hard offense, put ankle bracelets on them and let the van pick them up and let them, pick up garbage. So our roadsides are awful.
30 seconds.
Weedy, the roadsides. There was, I think, $19,000 something in miscellaneous all through the budget. We don't even know what that is. We need a breakdown of the budget when you get in there. Thank you.
Last year, McCreary County Fiscal Court approved a new countywide mandatory trash contract with POF Carding. This contract came under much scrutiny, especially when it was exposed in a physical court meeting that there were no additional efforts other than a local ad to bring in competition for this contract. Also, what made this controversial is it was also stated directly in the contract that we can't even change our own ordinance without POF Carding's permission. What could you advise that may assist in this situation, or what would you do differently if you could? 2 minutes on that one.
I think that we need to really go over the contract, because somewhere I'm sure they're in a breach of contract. I don't see how somebody can come in here, like you said, we can't change our ordinance, but if I take, we don't have the spring cleanup anymore. If I take my garbage over there, a truckload of garbage or something that I'm cleaning up around the house, he can charge you whatever he wants to. Because there's been a lot of contractors come up to me and talk to me about this, He tried to get Bruce Waters for $250. He tried to get Chris Carter for $325. What's to say he don't take somebody on a fixed income over there, just taking a little garbage off and try to, and they ain't got no choice but to pay it. So why would we have to pay that plus garbage? A lot of them of your contractors have contractors garbage bill and then they try to make it pay residential too, or you've got somebody that owns a business and they have a dumpster behind their business and they're wanting to pay residential too. It's just I think it was jumped into prematurely without a lot of research on it. There's a lot of things that they do that they don't research in, and I think we need to do a little better research on stuff before we do it. Thank you.
The garbage is a big issue with a lot of the people in the county, and I agree that McCreary County just does not accept anything being mandatory. I don't like being told what I have to do and what I don't have to do, but we need the garbage. We need a place to take our garbage. But to my understanding, the fiscal court had 2 bids. One was Scott Solid Waste and POF, which was 90 cents a month cheaper. They had to go with the low bid. Do I agree with POF? No, I don't. It's like they said, you take a truckload over there, they can charge you what they want to charge you. And that's not right. You can take it to Oneida or Winfield and dump the same load for maybe a fourth of what it costs over here. But we need to look into something where we can get a better handle on what they're charging our people and what they're doing for us.
Definitely agree that needs to be some views of the contract, and I don't think we should move forward with any ordinances without getting as much information from as many companies as possible. And you know, one of the big issues that even I've ran into with the dump station is it's open 1 day a week, and it's Friday. And so if you're doing a cleanup on the weekend, you have garbage sitting in your yard until Friday. And then if you're a working person, it's open only during working hours. And so that's another big issue that we have. And again, there is no set. Most places in other areas, you have a scale you drive over and you pay per pound, not just looking out the window and see what may be on the load and kind of guesstimate what it is. So they definitely need to have some looking into the contract and working with this company. We know when the contract's up, and then even before the contract's up, start looking around for other bids so someone else may do a better job, and continue to raise the issues up to the company that's causing the problems as well, and allowing the community to have a voice with it as well.
I looked through the contract. It is a one-sided contract, but only changes that can be made is by POF carding. They've got in the contract they can raise the price 1 year if fuel goes over a certain price, one time per year. I would wish it would have been shopped around. You know, just giving them right off the bat, just giving them the contract was crazy. I mean, it should have been shopped around at least a couple of times to see if any more people would be there to put a bid in. I don't like the transfer station only being open on Friday. That makes it hard for a lot of people to go take your garbage off. And I've heard from a lot of contractors how much they're trying to charge, but they take them to Scott County, and it's way less than like a third of the price. It's just a lot of people are mad about it. A lot of people are not wanting to sign up on it. It got off on the wrong foot by using that word mandatory. It's hard to use that word here in the county to get people to go along with you. Spring and fall cleanup, we don't even get that unless we have 4,200 people signed up on the garbage. And I don't know why we got a company that just does the residential. They don't do the dumpsters. We should have shopped around more, I believe, before we jumped into this.
The trash collection is, we need that, folks. We need that. It's important that we have a service available. The problem that came from, I don't really know how much effort we put into trying to find the proper person to do the job. I do know there was at least one magistrate that wanted to start earlier, and I give him credit for that. Mr. Phillips, I'll give you credit for that because I was there when you said it. So I appreciate that. I think what we need to do is we need to sit down with the county attorney and go over this. And if the current county attorney doesn't want to, then we need to do it with the next one, if there's a change of office. But we need to look at this contract and really look at it good, because it does seem to be one-sided. And it's unfair that we just have to pay prices that they just randomly throw at you. I agree with that. I believe we're in this contract for 5 years. So that basically puts it through the next administration. But the next administration needs to start working on it come January that last year, so that we're ready to do something that will be beneficial to the county when this contract's up. So there's where we stand. Thank you.
Another issue that's been a major topic in fiscal court meetings is special purpose government entities or special taxing districts. Like the extension board, of course, our fire departments, the library, the health district, they're all special purpose government entities. And they have the ability and the authority to set their own tax rates. The fiscal court has no authority. They don't approve the rates. They don't have any authority of how it's to be spent. But if elected, how would you propose dealing with these entities to ensure that the tax money is being collected and spent wisely?
It would be hard to control everything that they're saying, I mean, all their taxes, but it is hard for me to understand how an appointed panel has the ability to raise our taxes there's no repercussions from it. The boards are appointed, so they're not elected. Why are they not something we can do to control the taxes where they have some kind of repercussion? The people of the county should have something to say. There shouldn't just be 5 people go in here and be able to raise our taxes at their will. There should be some kind of something that can be done about that. Thank you.
I think this is where communication is key and accountability is key. I think it's important for the fiscal court to sit down with the boards and to look and take a serious look at each and every entity that has its own control and making sure we're holding everyone accountable to the dollars that are collected and the dollars that are spent to make sure it's for the best interest of the county. Transparency as well. As the decisions are being made, that whatever entity it is, that they're saying, hey, we're going to be doing this project or this with this money that we're collecting, and then that the community hold everyone accountable to say, okay, well, you said last time you were going to, to do this with this money, but make sure you're really doing it, because I think that these behind the door deals that we've been seeing going on, and that's not good. I think if you had everyone sit down and have open communication, that would solve a lot of problems, and also keep everyone on the same page to grow McCreary County.
I think the court needs to talk to the board people on whichever board it is, let them know the situation. That they should already know the situation, how the county is. We should have transparency. They should know. We should know what they're doing, what they're proposing, and we should have some idea of where the money's going to go. And see some profit. If you see something done with the money, you don't feel so bad about it. But just put a tax out for any reason is not good.
I agree 100%. We need some communication with these taxing boards. We need to understand what's going on in every one of their fields, and so does the public. So when the time comes that they need money or want money, then we can all try to understand. Okay. At this point in time, I'm not in favor of making any board at all that has a taxing ability to the people of our county. We've got some bigger issues that we need to follow up on and work on. And if there's any money going to be raised in taxes, we probably need to talk to the community about jails and things like that. So communication will be the biggest thing, being open-minded, listening to everybody, and understanding what everybody's projects are. That's what's going to help us all.
And I agree 100%. Communication and transparency is the key. I agree that we shouldn't have no more boards until we can get a handle on our budget and to get a jail back in here and maybe do a few things, sit down, talk to these people. And also, need to get the community involved, because they know more about themselves than we know in on it. So I think the communication, transparency. Thank you.
How would you encourage tourism development in McCreary County?
One of the saddest parts about the tourism in our area is the fact that the majority of our land is owned by the National Park Services. But if you look at statistics, Daniel Boone is the most underdeveloped national park in the system, but number 2 as far as size. Letting people know, promoting internet presence is huge. We do have a great website, but even as people come through, we need to have some way as they're traveling up and down 27 to attract them, to say, hey, there's these items to do here in our county, whether it's going to go to the coal mine or whether it's going to the Arch or other areas, but definitely doing that. I do agree also that we need to do something with campgrounds is another huge deal. I've got people that come in on an annual basis. They like to bring their campers in, but they have to go and they have to stay 15, 20 minutes away from any job sites that we're going to be working on to have a good campground. Developing things like that in the county would be huge as well to help bring in tourism and ATV trails and other things, horseback riding. All these things would help bring in people. People are wanting to get out and to do things, and we've got a beautiful place to do it.
We do have a good website now. For years we didn't. It's very informative. The people are coming here, but they don't stay here. They're leaving, like the Polar Express. There are a lot of people. I was very surprised how many people actually come to that. But I got a friend on the Southwood Motor Lodge. I asked him how many stayed there. He said very few people stayed at it. They go back to stay in Corbin or Somerset. When I go to Barberville to take tanks, come back through the falls, I'll follow cars all the time, and they'll come across the falls, our side, and they get on up to that first motel, so and they turn around, and they go back towards Corbin. We got to get them to come over here on our side. We got to clean our side up. We got to promote, like the car show, the Moonshine's Car Show. They come for all around for it. We got to get events here to keep the people here overnight, like a weekend event. The campgrounds need picked up. The campgrounds are underrated because we have a lot of pretty sites. My family loves it down here. All the arches and the waterfalls and everything. We just got to promote what we got.
Well, tourism, we have an opportunity, especially when it comes to the internet. I was out of state working here recently, and I just did some internet searches for different things, and our county really doesn't pop up anywhere. Except for if you want to do waterfalls in Kentucky or train rides in Kentucky, our county really doesn't exist in a lot of other searches or steam engines on the internet. So we have some opportunity there to get better with search engines and keywords, and so we can do better there. And I agree, we need to work on our campgrounds some. We have some beautiful places here, folks. We have some nice parks. We have great things. We could probably keep you busy for a long weekend here if we just do a better job promoting it. And I think we have an opportunity with the internet in a hurry. Thank you.
As I said earlier, our best motel is a 2-star. I've had a lot of people, a lot of my friends from out of town come. They have to go 3 or 4 rooms before they can find a room that suits them. We need to take care of that. If you drive around, like they said, a lot of the campgrounds are closed. They're growed up. They don't have sewage. And the tourism, like I said, we have a beautiful county. We have a lot of things. But I think that the tourism, we need to work with them to get the motels and to get something for people to do while they're here. Because they come and look, and then they go away. And that's where they spend their money. So if we could get something here and our motels up to par, I believe it would help a lot. Thank you.
I believe we need to work on our campgrounds, our places to stay. Tourism isn't effective if they come in, look at what we've got, and then leave. We've got to have them here to spend their money. If they're not spending any money here, it don't profit us anything. We've got one of the most beautiful places in the state, and we need to promote that. We need to get the campgrounds, get some motels in here that people want to stay at, some restaurants that they want to eat at, and somewhere for them to stay and spend their money. Thank you.
Okay, this is another tax question, a more specific one. McCreary County has been touted as one of the poorest counties in the nation. Last year, the McCreary County Extension Board levied a tax on the citizens of McCreary County that raised the extension budget from $50,000 a year to just under $200,000 a year. That tax, needless to say, became controversial. How do you stand on this tax, and what, if anything, would you advise on this issue?
That is a big issue there, the extension tax. That, I think both sides should sit down behind closed doors. Our fiscal court likes to do a lot of closed session meetings. They should take Greg and all of them in there, and they should have worked out a deal. We can't afford that big tax, but I hate to lose the extension office. We got to meet somewhere in the middle. It's like somebody said, you buy a car, you don't know, but you don't pay the sticker price. You got to negotiate.
30 seconds.
We got to figure out a way to keep it, but we cannot afford the tax that they imposed.
The tax on the extension agency, wow, I tell you, I agree with the stand that our magistrate's got right now. We're going to eliminate that board and cut that tax. I'm not against the extension agency, and I do agree with what Bobby said. I think that the extension agency should have come to the fiscal court meeting. We should have held public rallies, whatever, and explain what they're trying to accomplish before we've done anything.
30 seconds.
First of all, we probably should have looked a little deeper into it when we formed the board, if we didn't want them to tax. So we need to start asking those questions as well. But I think there's somewhere in the middle that we can meet, that we can still be able to have some services and still make our people in the county happy with not being charged with the unexpected tax. Thank you.
It goes back to communication and transparency. I believe that they should have come to the fiscal court meetings. They should propose what they was going to do. It ought to have been in black and white, not behind closed doors and put a 4% tax on people. I think that, they should, the extension board's a good play. It's a good thing. It's good for our schools, but wow, we can't do that. We can't have a gain like that on a tax. So I stand with the magistrates on it. Thank you.
I stand with the magistrates on eliminating the board. The extension service, I do agree with, we need it, but to go from 50,000 to 200,000, if you can go 1 year on 50,000, how does it quadruple in 1 year? I mean, there has to be a reason for it. But as far as the extension service, I agree with it. With the extension board, I stand with our magistrates.
I think one of the biggest problems with this whole issue is communication. I think, again, having the board and the fiscal court meet together, negotiate, has been mentioned many times up here. I think that is essential. The extension service is a very good thing for the county. A lot of great things happen with that service. If we do away with it completely, then we'd be the only county in the state without it. But I think it's pretty sad whenever the UK system didn't know anything about what was going on until the red flags was being raised and all the anger was boiling up in the fiscal court meetings. Again, communication has to be out there from the get-go. Justify your budget. That's key. Making sure that you're showing the numbers of why you can increase and should increase. And again, negotiate it out to see how this thing can work out for everyone. To everyone will have a representation in what's being done.
I'll switch orders here just a minute. What would you do to ensure that your district's portion of road funding is spent wisely, efficiently, and fairly?
Well, that's a good question. I've been in the rock and asphalt business for 17 years. I would cut down, if it costs, say they give me 600 ton on one road and it takes 450 ton, that would either be, I could take that to another road, we could put that back for somebody else that needed it for another road, fix a culvert. We've got a lot of damaged culverts in our district, a lot, and I've had a lot of people tell me about that. It washes their driveways out, so we could cut it back like that. Just wastefulness is what it wins back down to. We could cut back on that, and that would really help, I think. Thank you.
Question, please.
What would you do to ensure your district's portion of road funding is spent wisely, efficiently, and fairly?
You need to make sure that the roads, the more used roads are the ones that needs repaired. You need to make sure it's done correctly. You need to make sure that it's done in a fair manner. Our roads, as a majority, we have good roads. I mean, there's some side roads that needs to be repaired, the chip and seal roads. Blacktop, you need to just spend it wisely on what you're doing and make sure the roads are maintained.
30 seconds.
I think you need to prioritize the needs in the area to see which ones are the most urgent, most traveled, the biggest needs, and go for the biggest problems first, and then work your way down, and also getting as many bids to get the projects done the most effectively and efficiently as possible.
I would try to get the worst roads first, the side roads. If we've been graveling for years and it's not holding, we need to get chip and seal. Something to fix it one time, fix it right. Houses, maybe one house at the end of the road, maybe not blacktop it all the way at the end of the road, but try to fix people's driveways that need it, try to clean the culverts out so their driveways don't get washed out. Just fight for your people's right to have their roads paved. I think they're paving Sand Hill Road and Day Ridge Road. To me, some of those roads are pretty good shape right now. That could be spent somewhere else.
Fixing the roads is an important thing, and as I travel around District 1 today, I've already started a notebook, and it tells me what roads that I've been on and what kind of shape these roads are in, and I rate them 1 to 5. And then based on that information, we look and see who's traveling these roads the most, and what roads the buses are on. And these are the roads that we need to go after, the ones that need to repair the most traveled roads. Of course, the ideal situation is we have every road in the county blacktopped, but unfortunately we can't do that at this point. But in District 1, I think we have, our roads are in pretty good shape overall. But we do have some that still need some attention. So we would make sure that all 4 districts are treated fair and everybody's roads are taken care of. So, and by working with all the magistrates, so we could make that happen, and the judge. So, and of course the road department, because they're going to do the work for us. Thank you.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. We're almost done here. Got one final question. It's more of an ideological question than a magisterial, and we'll give you an opportunity for your final response. But the final question from our panel tonight is, this is a Republican event. You're all running as Republicans. What do you see as the role of the Republican Party here in McCreary County, and how can our strong Republican base here impact our role of our county in Frankfort and Washington? Yes, Mr. King, go ahead.
We need to stand for what we believe. For the Republican Party here needs to band together and just stand for what we believe. Basically, I really don't know how to answer your question. It's just we need to fight for what we believe in and band together as Republicans.
I think one of the main things with the Republican Party is to promote conservatism, making sure balanced budgets are there, making sure people are being heard, that people are having a voice. I think we have saw in the past election cycle, people are getting out, even this election cycle, seeing how many people are running for these offices. Get people out there, let their voices be heard. When it comes to Frankfort and Washington, a squeaky wheel gets heard and it gets fixed. Making sure that we're raising awareness and that we are not satisfied with the status quo, the way the county has been misrepresented or not paid attention to with Frankfort and also in Washington. And take opportunity while we have conservative leadership in both of those arenas to get as much effort here in our county to promote the county and the Republican work and for the betterment of the community as well.
I grew up a Republican. My grandpa was a diehard Republican, so that's the way I was brought up. But if you watch the news, they're all bashing Republicans. They're bashing parties over something, the governor or whatever. But it's all got to stand together. The Republicans need to be looking at the people, out for the people, taking care of the people. But the government takes care of itself sometimes.
30
But
seconds.
the Republican Party is strong here in McCreary County. It always has been. Thank you.
Folks, being a Republican, I just think that we all need to become united and stand together, but it doesn't matter about Republican or Democrat. We need to do the job. We need to do the job right. We need to put the best effort toward that job. And we got lined up as good as we can get it with the Republican state and Republican federal government. If any time possible, now's the right time that we need to be asking, not just for monetary help, but for any kind of help and their assistance in helping us drive our county economically.
30 seconds.
So that's what we need to be doing right now while the time's right.
We need to band together, one voice, one loud voice. And we need to, if you get sick, you call a doctor, right? You don't call a lawyer if you're sick. You make sure to call who needs to be there. And we need strong Republicans in there for that. We need to also take care of our people, make sure our people are all took care of. But the main thing is we need to band together, and we need to work with everybody. We shouldn't just, how would you say it? Just because we're all Republicans don't mean we shouldn't work with some Democrats if we have to, because that's what we need to do. It all comes to being, we need to be combined, Thank you.
Okay, and like I said, gentlemen, I thank you all for coming out tonight. Starting with Mr. Hasty, we'll give you about a minute or so to sum up anything that you wish to address that wasn't addressed tonight. So start the floor, please.
All right. Yeah. Again, asking you for your vote. The definition of insanity is when you do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different outcome. We've had some of our magistrates in over and over and over again, and we're expecting a different outcome. It's time for a change. And so, again, communication, leadership, teamwork, those are all things that I demonstrate throughout my job, my ministry, and it's very effective. I believe you give a people an opportunity to step up, they will. We see that again through our ministries and helping people up, not just out. And then also giving people something to do. Jobs are huge. One of the problems with the drugs, if you have an idle mind, you're going to have idle hands, and that's going to cause more and more problems. But you give people something to do, help them establish pride in themselves and something that they believe in, then that also helps them out of the situations that they're in.
I'm asking for your vote on May 22nd to help make this county a better place to live for us and our kids. The decisions we make today is going to affect our kids in the future. We've got to pull together. We've got to get some jobs in here. We've got to change some things. Things here is not working. We've been the same for years. It's not getting better. I seen a survey. In the year 2000, there was more jobs here than in 2015. We've got to get jobs in here. We've got to promote tourism. We've got to work together. If there's Democrats or whatever, we got to work with them. We got to lobby the governor to get stuff in here. Belden in Monticello was closed less than a year till the governor got a company come there making truck beds. Going to employ 250 jobs. But we got to be all over the governor and get him to let some jobs come here. Different types of anything. Thank you.
This is William Hale. I'm asking for your support and your confidence and your vote in the May 22nd primary election. I'll be the #1 position on the ballot. I'm going to be out for the remainder of, I guess, the next month. I hope to see some of you out there. I'll be willing to answer more questions. I love the opportunity to talk to y'all, and that's one of the things that I've enjoyed most of all. Win or lose this election, I've enjoyed meeting people and talking to them and listening to their concerns and their ideas, because I'm telling you folks, ideas come from everywhere, and some of the best ideas we'll have will come from the general public or for people that are working for the county, because they know how it works and they see things that sometimes people don't see. So we need to balance our budget. I've got 30 years of experience in budgeting. I manage multiple units. I can assist with that. I can help with that. Anyway, I just appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk tonight. And if I can be any help to anybody, just let me know. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I'm Clayton Worley. I'm #2 on the ballot. I'm asking for your vote May 22nd. I'll work hard for you. I'll listen to you. I'm fair and honest. And like I say, I've had 17 years of trucking and operating. If you've got something done and you need something done, I can go get the equipment and come and do it for you. If I can't get nobody to come, I'm here to help not just with the roads, but with the physical court part of it, try to help with budgeting, and try to get McCreary County great. I've lived here all my life, and we've lost something almost every year that I've lived here. And, we're down to nothing. What happens when the kids come? We need stuff here. We need jobs here. But I'm asking you for your vote. Thank you.
I'm Ronald King. I'm asking for your vote on May the 22nd. I definitely believe that we need magistrates and a judge in there that's willing to work together for the betterment of our community. It's not getting any better the way it is. We need people in there that will agree with each other, work with each other, and go after us some jobs. We need some people here that wants to do better. I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Once again, I'd like to thank all you gentlemen. We're going to take a brief 5-10 minute break here, but before we do, again, Bill Hale in District 1, and from District 3, we've got Clayton Worley, Ronald King, Grant Hasty, Bobby Strunk. A big appreciation for all you coming out tonight. Just a reminder, tomorrow night we'll be back here with magistrate candidates from District 2 and 4. Later on tonight we will have a PBA, and I believe we're also going to get a coroner in here this evening. Later on, the 10th and 11th, we will have the judge, executive, sheriff, and jailer races, and county attorney. But again, I'd like to thank you, gentlemen, and thank the Republican Party for hosting tonight. We're going to take a brief break. Thank you.
Is the coroner of McCreary County, Kentucky. In my first 4 years of being in office, and within less than a month, I took my basic training in less than a month of the 40-hour courses that I have to have. And since that time, the state has also passed that coroners are mandatory to require their continuing education of 16 or 18 hours every year. And since I've been in office, I've completed my continuing education every year to make sure that I stay up to date and certified to be able to do the job of coroner with all professionalism, honesty, and integrity, to ensure that every death is investigated properly and every cause of death is insured, because the family needs peace when their time of death comes to these people. Everybody is a loved one, no matter what happens. That's somebody's baby, that's somebody's mommy, that is somebody's daddy. And we need to take that with the utmost respect and dignity and ensure these people that we do everything we can to our utmost extent. So I ask you to please help me be reelected as coroner of McCreary County, Kentucky. Thank you.